Ready, under lights, under action, under camera!
You forgot the fan in the chamber!
Hooker, you pissed off another vampire and then you took a goddamn nap.
right, there we go. Muting the music and ready to rock. So we're still with two of our crowd today, two of our four erstwhile heroes. But that's okay. We're still going to have game anyways. So it's the beginning of the month, so that means it is karma roll. So it's time to get some points. Does somebody want to roll that beautiful bean footage?
Your turn, Dale.
Okay, what am I rolling?
Just a D10.
A D10. And then we're multiplying it by 50.
Right. Hey, all right. So 7 times 50, that means 350.
All right. That works. So for karma, you get tree 50.
Sweet.
All right. And so last we left off, you guys had the run-in with security. You helped battle him Bell. Mostly stop a heist out on the highway, bringing in some cagey individuals, but Dr. October managed to get away. Since that particular time frame, it's been a couple of days now. Carmen and Ixion are still doing Carmen and Ixion things. The update that you have on the office now at this point, it's been about a week now since you've started the move. Your managerial staff has made the move, and the office is equipped. So they're in the process now of shifting over what few employees, essentially layman employees, were going to be making the move, and then starting the hiring process here for the spots that they had to lay off because of the office move.
Gotcha. Okay. Nice. What about any of the like machines or tools or any of the equipment that we use? How's that working?
Refresh my memory again.
Since we're a like research and science consulting firm, I figure we're gonna have like equipment to like fabrication equipment and whatnot to prototype certain things. Has all of that been moved over as well, or
Yes.
are we talking just like okay, cool?
Yeah,
Cool.
you basically have everything in place. Now you just don't have the staff. You have the managerial staff, which pretty much all stayed on. They had good enough packages that they're like, you know what, nah, let's just go ahead and move. But for the other folks, like that you had that weren't managerial, that most of them didn't opt to make the move.
Okay.
So a few of them did, and so now it's just a hiring process. So you don't really have the capability of starting the business back up completely yet, but the office is functional, everything is in place. You just got to replace the staff.
Okay, gotcha. So then, since we have pretty much all of that in place, especially the equipment we'd have, one of the things I was thinking about is like if we had any like extra, fabrication equipment or something that since we're kind of building up our workforce anyway, and we're not going to be at full capacity for a bit, if some of that gear, I could clandestinely kind of move it into the vein so that we have our own like fabrication workshop type thing going on. And maybe like loop in Ms. McCall to use her resources to make that move like, not traced.
Essentially steal from yourself?
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, why don't you give me a percentile check?
Okay.
Give a roll and see just how this is going to affect your business.
All right. 34.
Okay. So for the time being, you are able to shunt that over. You're down one column shift for resources at this point.
Okay.
Until that gets replaced.
Okay. Gotcha. Right.
But you are able to make the move without any muss or fuss for the most part.
Okay. Sweet. Good. Oh, and since it's been a couple of days, we brought back, or at least I held on to that robot that I had decapitated
Mhm.
from the heist. I'll also be looking into like studying that and its mechanics and how it works and everything to learn about it.
Okay. Why don't you, since you've had a couple days to study it, why don't you give me a reason check at this point, and you can add any applicable skill that you
Okay,
or talent, I should say, you might have.
gotcha. Would computers work?
No,
Okay,
not for this one.
okay, yeah, that's my only talent so far.
Oh, okay. Well, got to find you some more software uploads.
Yeah, exactly. 75.
Okay. Um, the outer shell is obviously on the crude side, but for being an independent, like this, obviously wasn't tied to any sort of big company. For being an independent developer, it's surprisingly advanced.
Okay.
The inner workings to get it basically to the level that it was at, that it could remotely drive by itself. It looks like what you've identified is it had limited capabilities of working autonomously, so it's not like a true AI in any sense. The big the big thing that kind of surprised you, which is much more high tech than you expected, was the frequency connectors that it had attached to it. That it could work, you estimate, remotely up to, provided the signal was sound enough, up to a range of about 2 miles. Which that is, given the fact that it's not cellular technology, that's pretty beefy.
Okay. That's also the range of our like wrist communicators, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Um, well, interesting. So, uh, with that said, and the technology that's in it, would I be able to, or can I tell if I could incorporate any of this technology into the vein AI I'm trying to create?
Good question. It's beneath, what you see here is beneath most of what's in the vein already.
Okay.
If you were to try and modify the receiver technology, maybe that's literally the beefiest part of the little robot you've got here.
Okay. And for that, would that just essentially give like, does our base have like a very limited communications range,
Mm-hmm.
or like if I use the frequency uh connectors here or reverse engineered it, what would that truly accomplish for our like base or our computer?
Speaking in modern terms, at this point, you're looking at something that's the equivalent of a Wi-Fi router and booster.
Oh, okay.
So if attached, not only would not only would it strengthen the signal around the vein, which automatically, because it's embedded in a mountain with metal and whatnot, is already going to be challenged. So that would actually assist with a a stronger signal. You would probably get more range out of it.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, then I'll try to incorporate that into our base.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and give me another reason check?
97.
Oh, nice. So as you are going over the I mean, you're able to actually detach it completely clean, and break it open and go the receiver the receiver and transponder portion of it, and you're able to break that down easily. And in fact,
Excellent.
when you incorporate it, the incorporation is almost seamless, as if at some point in time maybe the technologies had crossed.
Mm, okay.
Kind of like when somebody looks at I don't know if you remember this, but back when PC computers were in this time frame, PC computers were getting really popular. You had the Macs and you had the quote unquote IBM compatible,
Right. Yeah.
which
Exactly.
meant you had like IBM and then you had the IBM compatible. That's kind of what you're looking at here. It's like,
Okay.
you know, the technology, at least in this particular piece, was on par with some of the things that you had in the vein already, which probably meant manufacturing wise, it probably came from somewhere similar. You know, at least some of the
Okay.
pieces. Assembly wise, probably not, but you know, it probably came from a similar outlet at one point in time.
Gotcha. Okay. And when I was dealing with the robot itself, I couldn't find like any identifying marks or
No,
signatures of like who made it. Nothing. Okay.
nothing like that. No, which was smart. It's clear that the whoever put this together is not. You know, it was probably designed in essence to be a bit of a throwaway.
Right. Okay. Right. Interesting. Well, with that, I guess I'd also then ask Ms. McCall if she knows about what company or organization helped to fabricate the vein, if she happens to know.
That's a great question. She says, always assumed it was one of Electrum's shell holdings.
Okay. Gotcha. Right then.
She says you were probably better off looking, if you're going down that route, you're probably better off looking at the company behind your design.
Okay. Right. Sweet. Well, with that, I can't think. Oh, that's right. The let's see here. The when Battle Hymn Bell gave me her business card and was like, "Hey, yeah, have our people contact your people." I'll go ahead and let Ms. McCall know. She actually handed that to us as well.
Okay.
And since she's kind of our main contact, if she wanted that information to use it, or she saw fit, I hand that over to her.
So she looks at it and she goes, "Oh, okay. So she's was apparently working for the Aegis Foundation. That a little bit better than
Correct.
the Justice Legion." Was there anything else, or was it just this?
That was essentially it. She indicated that if we did not have any employment, that apparently the Aegis Foundation is offering employment, seemingly to superpowered beings. I did not, of course, commit to anything. I just let her know that our individuals would contact hers if there was a need.
She kind of rolled her eyes at that, and she's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, that would be Minuteman's doing. He's kind of gone into the private security route with SPBs, and apparently the market is booming. I'll leave that decision up to all of you, but that may hinder some of your plans in the near future."
Understood. In the way that our organization here for the Vein is operating, is there any way, since it seems that the funding for it is limited and we are trying to build upon that, is there any way we can enhance that other than what we're currently doing with our heroic activities?
Well, the heroic activities aren't going to bring in any money unless, for some reason, you either steal it or you're awarded it. You're awarded some sort of income. So that may have been why Battle Hymn Bell provided you the card. I'm not saying that going to work for Mr. Minuteman wouldn't be advantageous from an economic standpoint, but it also means you're going to be on call. You're going to be answering to somebody, and that I don't know if that's something I'm okay with.
Understandable. I believe our organization here should not be based on profit. It needs to be a social service for the world.
Well, just keep that in mind. There are some here that do need to have mouths fed.
Understood.
however admirable that might be. In the meantime, I'm going to go back into the city. I'll leave you two boys up to whatever it is that you're going to do.
Excellent.
Oh, he's off doing the things we were talking about before, and I'll describe it here for everybody else here.
Okay, so then, like, right about that time when she says that, you just hear, like, pound, 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 clank, clank, ratchet, 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 pound, 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 coming from, one of the rooms off of the main room.
Right. And bid Ms. McComb adieu, and I go see where the banging, what's happened over there.
So on day one, he does an hour of training the plasma flow, just trying to be able to generate it on command. I'm at 5.
So go ahead and make your roll again if you'd like.
74.
Okay. 74 is a yellow result, so you are good.
Alrighty then.
That counts as one more.
And then for the rest of the day, he spends marking off the corridors for an agility run. And then on day 2, he does the same thing, morning practice. And then in the afternoon, he starts putting up targets. And to begin out with, he's just putting them in the corners.
Okay.
So all throughout the corridors over the last couple of days, you started seeing not paint, but pigment on walls just pointing in a direction.
Okay.
And now there are actual targets up.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So going up to Freddy at one point, it seems you are developing a course for yourself.
For everybody. It's one thing to be able to do it in that room where we kind of know where things are coming from, but we've got to be able to make tight turns if you're flying, or if you develop new powers, or in your case, engineer them. You might get a rocket pack, and this would be a great way to test yourself on your turning.
Interesting. Well, excellent. And the targets, that's for as you're running or flying.
Yep.
Hmm.
Lightbringer might be... She seems to be able to make light constructs of different types of things and manipulate light. She might be able to have run along a rainbow and throw light bolts at it. And this might be a good way to get kind of a different practice on it.
Interesting. Well,
And none of us are our genetic donors, so we should train our own ways instead of using his. Not that his are insufficient, but
there could be some benefit gained. I do plan on eventually seeing if I can reverse engineer the equipment that makes up the training room to see if we can apply it to us as well. But it takes time to accomplish all these tasks, of course.
and once I get the equipment I need, I'm going to try and mold myself a bracer for the Pearl.
That pearl you have, what exactly does it do for you?
It's the source of some of my powers.
Have you ever been able to determine how or why it works the way it does?
Mm-mm. Me and my closer siblings, we were diving and I found it. It kind of, I wouldn't say it called out to me, but it seemed like it was meant to be mine.
Interesting. Was it amongst ruins or something else indicating where it may have come from.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention at the time. Wait, when you're running away from a sub going boom, you don't exactly stop to take a look around in your environment.
I see. Interesting. Well, if time permits in the future, and if you'd be willing, it'd be fascinating to test the Pearl's abilities, to see if they could be analyzed, measured, even duplicated somehow.
We can see about that. All right, I've got the course up. Let's see how well I can do this, or if I'm going to be crashing into walls all day long. He
Good
does
luck.
put on the suit.
Okay.
I stand far, far out of the way.
Rocket power on. And I'm going to try the agility course.
All right.
Right now, it's only about 5 turns, a couple of soft turns, 2 hard turns, and at the end, you're supposed to do a U-turn and turn around.
Okay.
It's just for practicing maneuvers.
Sure. Okay.
Come on, agility, even though I know you're down 2 slots. One.
All right. So, why don't you go ahead and give me the next roll, because these are on the soft turns.
73.
Okay. So 73. Hold on. Okay, so that's going to put you for your agility. So that, and you said a 70 what?
Green.
Okay, so
73.
So that you rocket off on the first one, and the very first soft turn, you smack straight into it with all the authority of a pinball hitting a bumper, and just getting dejected straight down to the next soft turn, which you managed to kind of keep rolling with it and get out of the way of the second. Go ahead and try and beat your hard turns.
80 on the first one.
Okay.
49 on the second one. So a green. Yeah, a green, and then a 49. Barely a green.
So the next 2, as you zip around, you scuff yourself on the other 2 hard turns. No damage. I mean, the rocket in your suit, provide enough, protection there that you're not hurting yourself, but you can feel yourself scraping across on the next 2 hard turns, and you eventually circle back around a little bit wiser, maybe not taking it quite as fast or something, and navigate out. So it should help for agility, but you're probably going to want to find some other maybe fine-tuning skills or something that's going to help you with agility, since you're so used to being, the pressures underwater.
Yeah. He'll walk back. Okay, that'll work.
Not bad for your first attempt.
Yeah, and I can work on it and make it longer later. This was just a trial run. That way we can all have a running course for aiming and shooting in different environments than just being shot at.
Excellent.
So you end up hearing the monitors on the outside, or I should say not on the outside, but in the main part of the hall kick on, because it caught some sort of news brief, and you hear that great intro, that Stephen B. News, Stephen B. News, Stephen B. News, coming along as the commercial plays, and the media picks up that the villain known as Blood Goblin has actually made her or she earned bail and made bail, so that she was actually awarded it based on the efforts of Stephen P. New. And so she has been released at this point under her own cognizance or recognizance in the town of Strongford, or city of Strongford. So she is obviously unable to leave the state for any particular reason while she awaits trial, but she has actually been released.
Now, I just hope she can keep herself under control, realizing that she's been given a great boon.
I believe
We'll
she
see.
will, especially if we were able to reestablish contact with her. I think if we are able to turn more enemies into allies in our fights, that will actually exponentially increase our power versus future villains.
Exactly. Which is
Speaking of
why.
which, oh, please
Go
continue.
ahead.
I was going to mention that we may want to consider if we would ever want to expand our own team beyond the siblings that we are. What are your thoughts?
I'm indifferent on it at the moment. I'm interested in chasing down the rabbit hole of what he was doing first. But since we're putting on the capes of heroes, we should be prepared for it. Right now, we should be careful on who we let in on our secrets. That way, we don't accidentally exposing ourselves before we have a tighter grasp. I dislike that there was a super going around and breeding women.
It bothers you that you learn that he was your father and did what he did.
No, not that. Um, just having a child is one thing, and seducing a married woman, that is, to be honest, I've done my fair share of that. However, what I dislike is when supers are intentionally breeding women to create more children. That reeks of conspiracy to me. I think there's something more going on than just, oh, I'm a philanderer. It comes off as something more than that.
I have been pondering that as well. And you see me go over to the computer and I pull up the information that the computer has on the Dexamite Empire. And let's see if we can find it again. I say I have been thinking about why Electrum would have done what he does when it comes to, as you say, breeding with other women, creating individuals that have powers, or, in my case, literally manufacturing a being that has extended power.
Mm-hmm.
It is curious that he had such an incredible degree of power and that he has access to advanced technology that seem to be beyond current technology here on Earth, which would lead me to believe that he either was intelligent enough to develop all of it on his own, or perhaps that his people were. I wonder if he himself was actually a Dexamite, and not of Earth.
I I'm very much in agreement with that. I don't think he's human, and I'm pretty sure if we were to break down all of the folks with blood, no offense, we would probably find non-human DNA. Either that, or his DNA is so closely similar to ours that it almost mimics it. By the way, I do have genetics.
I know.
So I'm not just pulling stuff out of my butt.
Out of your buttocks.
Even with it being an alien, for the genetics to work right, the pairs have to be right. And he'll go into a brief explanation of chromosomal pairing.
Okay.
I don't want to have to do that because Justin will probably get it wrong.
Right, sure.
But Justin is not Freddy, and Freddy knows genetics.
Right, okay.
Which is totally fine.
Yeah, gotcha.
So his species must have something similar, or at least on base 13 would be my guess. 13 individuals, 26 pairs. It might even be something like 39, where he has a third string of DNA mixed in with what humans would just have as a double helix. There's a lot of possibilities. I am not an expert in alien biology, so I'm not sure how well that would work out. But when they were going through the experiments on us, which I'm guessing was a lot less intuitive than I thought at the time, they had a plan for it. I'm going to make a conscious assumption that they actually had a good idea where they were going from and what they needed to do to manipulate the DNA.
How do you believe they obtained that knowledge?
I believe it was given to them
By who?
by none other than Electrum.
Do you
It
think that
would
was
make
specifically for your benefit?
not at all. I do not think it was meant to benefit us. I think it was meant to benefit him. Like, no super has ever gone to the government and gotten um special treatment.
Fair point.
Is comic books like a thing?
Yeah.
Like Superman and Spider-Man and all that stuff?
To avoid copyright, no, not like that, but
um
the appropriate doppelgangers.
Doppelganger Man, even though he is stronger than the entire planet and can bench press Jupiter, I don't believe for an instance that the government would ever try to actually attack him. So it's easier to appease than it is to fight against it. So if he wanted special permissions and all he had to do was trade a little bit of genetic knowledge, I think it would be well within the purview of the government. The government's done a lot worse things. You should look up the MK Ultra experiment sometime. Was
I'm
that a real
aware.
thing here?
Mm.
Jerome?
Well, this is the 90s, remember? So I don't know if that had taken effect yet.
Now I have to look it up. Because I know the experiments were already completed by the 90s. I don't know if it got declassified till then. Let's see. Sorry, happened in the early the 50s and 60s.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it would have been declassified by then.
So there you go.
Interesting. Well, I suppose the only other individual who might know could be Ms. McCall, since apparently any true-blooded Dexamite will have a birthmark tattoo the back of their torso and neck. So if she ever saw him, and if he ever was willing to reveal that aspect of himself, perhaps that would identify it. But beyond that, I'm not sure how we could follow this lead, perhaps through the military, since your idea is sound. His interaction could have led him to multiple branches of the military, since I know for a
Bless
fact
you.
it did lead
Thank
him
you.
to DARPA. Fascinating. Hmm.
Like, we never stated it. Jerome, is Mother dead or just out of the picture, like gone?
We'll say that she's actually deceased at this point.
Okay, because I remember us discussing something about him being raised, the triplets being raised in a single family house.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page for that.
Yeah, no, you guys did at that point, but she would have passed away after you guys had already been in the military.
I could ask my mom, but she's been gone for some time.
My mother, I believe, has also passed, according to public records. Which is unfortunate. It's also strange that he would suddenly leave. I'm starting to
Can
believe that it was not under his own volition.
can I pull up my own file,
You
is
mean-
there a file for me?
the only file that was ever presented on you was what McCall had on all of you.
All right, I go and do we still have those files lying around?
Yeah,
I want to see
I'm
if it
presuming
has
you guys
any.
kept it. I don't recall anybody, getting ragey and burning it or something.
Oh
Yeah, no, I take a look through the files. I see if there's mention of mothers in them.
Mothers of
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Parental history. Parents alive, dead, what they do.
For you or?
I check for all of us.
Oh, okay. Well, you already know you already know Mark, so he was created. You also see the file for Carmen. Her father's name, of course, went by Todd Summers. Her mother ended up passing. Her mother ended up passing away, so she's an only child now as well. Her mother ended up passing away. Let's see. She ended up living to see her 16th birthday. So she
Does
actually,
it list the cause of death?
she ended up dying of cancer.
And my mother?
Your mother ended up dying of alcohol poisoning.
And is there anything on Ixions?
Ixium, the information provided is actually something that was correlated from data that you would actually find on the computer, as well as what's in the file itself. Basically, it's a write-up about a brief write-up about his race, and that's all on the computer. It's also believed that the race at one point in time had actually sat near an intergalactic trade hub, which meant that it came in contact with a bunch of different races at one point in time. The last note, or the last note that was on there, indicated that it is believed that the entirety of the planet is devoid of any sort of life. So the question of the race itself is in question.
I have a bad theory. And
is?
he's kind of scrambly looking through these things. The DNA may not be compatible entirely. My mother died of alcoholism, and Lightbringer's mother, according to her file here, says she died of cancer. We need to find if he had any other children that we know about. I'll call Miss McCall.
Okay. So, I mean, she comes up on the comm link.
Miss McCall, I have a question for you. And maybe you can help with the research portion of this.
What is it?
The mistresses of your late husband, whether he's here or around, doesn't matter. We're trying to find out how many of them are still alive after progeny is born.
So of the one, you mean for the team? Nobody is alive, to the best of my knowledge.
Are you aware of any other youngins out there running around?
I am aware that there are. I am still correlating that data.
Can you do us a favor? Just find out if their mothers are alive. We're thinking there may be some genetic issues. Mark is exempt
right.
from this, of course, but it is not beyond someone with Electrum's influence to be able to forge a document about someone's death.
So you're of the assumption that my husband, your father, is a murderer.
Not necessarily intentionally, but as a side effect of whatever.
Forging documents would preclude intent.
I don't know. It was a thought that crossed my mind when I think about the possibility of a genetic code of an alien species and how it might interact with the human species. If he only has one child with each partner, and those partners all die of cancer afterwards, there may be more going on here.
Or
you are also aware that I do not have cancer and have not died.
Do you have any children?
No, we do not.
That is where I think the catch is. Again, I could be wrong, but it crossed my mind at a brief moment when I was explaining chromosomal pairs. It's
Mr. Layton,
call it a bad hunch.
Tread very lightly with this train of thought, but I will look into it later.
Thank you. And he'll hang up, and he's going to draw his own blood, and he's going to do whatever sampling it does to break down the base pairs. I know there's a way to do it.
Okay.
I know that's not really what's going on, but it's a train of thought whenever you have someone who's ex-military.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, you were a part of a conspiracy, so it's not like it's out of the realm of possibility. Right. So keep in mind, the laboratory equipment here is not up to snuff to break down everything it is you guys are wanting. It's still basic medical at this point. One of the things that you were needing to do was to, based obviously on the genetic research that you're trying to do, that you're touching on again. This was, I think we touched base on this like the second game or something. You guys were wanting to upgrade this equipment. This was another upgrade opportunity.
But yeah, he He settles back in and um he looks a little upset because this is a bad train of thought. And even worse, as he sits there and he thinks about it, if half of this is true, this is a great way to build an invasion force.
Freddie, you seem agitated by what you're thinking about and this theory. I believe it would be prudent to take Ms. McCall's advice, to tread lightly.
Sorry, history of this planet is not very kind. Of all the things that humans do well, we do war the best. Folks like me are products of war. Me and my closer blood siblings, we were all in the military together. I'm the only one to have left it because I could not stand what I was doing. Um, when a conquering force takes over a city, you have to win the hearts and minds. So if you have your, and I'm going to use the word lightly, insurgents, your biological children, already planted on the city, planted in those cities, it's easier to say, my son is of your people. He should be given leeway and he can be taught both ways. Then you can dilute the original culture until it's nothing. That is how you conquer a people. You make them disappear. And you don't do it one day, you don't do it with one big bomb. You do it with their people. If you were trying to take over a planet, how would you do it?
Well, technically, I would not try to take over a planet. I do understand what you're saying, however. But this does bring to question, why would Electrum, for so many decades, in fact, for so many human generations, was the protector and guardian of the entire world? Why would he do that to then enact a long-term invasion plan via breeding half, perhaps, Dexamite, half humans?
Could just be
Why would it?
travel time. Mind you, I am thinking of the most suspicious way here.
Understand?
Suddenly being called back and being this information being revealed. Miss McCall obviously isn't telling us everything she knows.
It is possible.
No, it's more than likely.
Why is
I
it then? Why is it
granted,
then that you actually continue to operate here if you're not trusting our liaison?
keep your friends close, your enemies closer.
I see.
And by the way, he doesn't realize that he might be recorded.
Yeah.
As suspicious as he is being right now,
No, it totally makes sense.
I'm just putting that out there so you know where he's coming from, right? At least at the moment. Now, if I'm just being paranoid, then we have nothing to worry about. That's the reality of it. If I'm just overthinking and overanalyzing this, it could be something that I'm just overthinking and what's really going to happen in the future is nothing near this. He could have just been captured and someone knows his weakness and he's not able to get free. What I found suspicious is that he has a lot of extra children. That concerns me. And of the small sample size we have, their parents, at least their mothers, are dead.
That is
Ixiom we
disconcerting.
Ixiom is a little bit harder since his species kind of we don't know about his planet according to his file. But I don't put it beyond a very strong person who is capable of defeating several branches of the military, being able to just say, hey, she died of alcoholism.
Interesting. I do see where you're going.
It's
However,
not a happy train of thought.
correct. And not only happy or unhappy, as the case may be, it seems it would be deconstructive for us if we were to focus on the actual goal and not what his possible true legacy would be. We don't
Right now,
have to follow in his footsteps.
my goal remains the same for the legacy. We build up our reputation. We are seen as the good we can be. And then from there, we can figure out what the truth is. I know it's a little late, but can I do an intuition check on her?
On who?
The conversation with what's her face?
Oh yeah, no.
Mr. Call?
Too late now?
Yeah, way too late.
Okay. I apologize if I've taken this train of thought too far. However, I think it would not be in our worst interest to actually work with what was her name again?
The Aegis Foundation?
No, the actual superhero. Merryweather
Battle Him
Mary
Bell.
Battle him. It would not be in our worst interest to work with Bell, get a scene with some of the more popular supers around town that could at least help us with building our reputation. Not to mention doing things like what Lightbringer likes to do with soup kitchens and helping out the disenfranchised in the city.
It does make sense. I am reminded of what Ms. McCall mentioned, essentially explaining that we would be losing a degree of autonomy. We would be working for a company rather than doing what we believe needs to be done. As far as funding, I do own a company. I am planning on broadening it, changing its horizons. It will take time. But with that, I would be siphoning materials, supplies, and funding into our organization, perhaps actually establishing a new organization where we can receive funding and retain autonomy. For the short term, however, it may be prudent if it seems that we need anything additional to at least consider Battle Hymn Bell's proposal.
It doesn't hurt to have public relations where we're seen with the better of the companies. Even if we're not working for them, good public relations go a long way. The reason me and my other triplets are so well regarded, even if we're not always looked on in the best of lights, is because the Navy put a lot into the public relations on what happened to us. And we
Do
keep
you
our mouths shut about a great deal of what happened in those labs.
do you yourself have a degree of public relations experience?
Under a different pseudonym.
I wonder.
The world knows me as. Did we ever discuss rank?
No, we did not.
The public generally knows me as the frying fisher, and that's because that's what the Navy branded me as. So when I went private and I started working for the fishing companies, it was really good public relations. So that's actually one of the teams that I'm having come out right now. That way we can start working on God, my name, my brain for names is sucking today. Strongford.
Frankfurt.
Yes,
Um,
Strongford.
Getting some of the lakes and rivers cleaned up for public interest will work out really well.
Excellent. With that said, I wonder if you would be willing to be a face with regard to Battle Hymn Bell, if you wanted to spearhead that possible option that we have as a team.
I am more than willing to do that.
Excellent. Well, it seems that we don't have current contact with our siblings. Perhaps if you would be willing to make contact with her and see if there's anything that can be arranged for missions or future opportunities.
Lightbringer will definitely be good for local. Battle Hymn will definitely bring us more national attention. So whatever we can do, definitely. Being a public face is not something I haven't done before. And just to delay your worries, I am a much better orator when I'm not worried about everyone's fates.
I understand.
But yes, I firmly believe that we can get this resolved rather quickly. As far as the public relations go, um the angler is more than happy to be that anchor.
Excellent.
Yes, they're on purpose. I saw that look on his face. Like, does he realize what he's doing?
So as you are having this conversation, you end up hearing the monitors in the main room kick on again as it's starting to record another, not a commercial, but news clip. And the news clip is actually coming from Tony Pope from Hardcore, who is on site, and it's actually in Alabama currently, in Tuscaloosa, and they are in the process of dealing with basically two mobs of people, not huge, but pretty close to it, like teetering on about 100 people total. So it is definitely starting to get national attention. And on one side, you have people that are fighting fighting against discrimination in general. It doesn't seem to be like pro deviant, but it could be confused with pro deviancy. It's still kind of a touchy thing. It's like back in the day when people were fighting for and against gay and lesbians and whatnot. You had some people on the side who were for, but it was usually just we're against discrimination sort of thing, and trying to put it in an umbrella, if they weren't being quite as radicals. They were still there fighting for that cause, but maybe they had other things that they had to worry about that they didn't want to be mislabeled or something, despite the stance that they were taking. On the other hand, however, so that's kind of the case with what's going on over here. Some people who are against discrimination. There are some pro deviant signs out there from people, don't discriminate sort of thing. On the other side, however, which they are the larger crowd, are very clearly racist, white nationalist types, and several that are showing like the swastikas and neo-Nazi sort of signs and whatnot. And Tony Pope is like wading to the crowd and like trying to get the opinions of people and whatnot. And as he's doing so and trying to get comments and whatnot, you end up seeing like a light kind of shine in the middle of the crowd, and then three people appear, and one guy is like massive. He's easily about 7.5 feet tall, and almost as wide. Like, just, we're talking comic proportions, like Hulk, just like, grrr. There's no way he's not going to stand out in a crowd. His costume is black and reds, and he's very heavily armored with some, some gold kind of here and there, like a gold chain and like a full helmet. He has what appears to be like an older school German symbol. You know how they had the eagle and whatnot. We're talking before Nazi Germany, which I think maybe up to that point even Nazi Germany utilized to an extent in the late 30s, early 40s, maybe.
You're talking about the Iron Cross?
No, not the Iron Cross. But
Okay.
we're talking like the actual, like the eagle that they, or hawk or something like that. But they ended up using that
Eagle.
too, because they were coming off of the Kingdom of Prussia at that point. So he's got kind of like that emblem on there, and his other two compatriots do as well. They have similar costumes. One's a female with kind of like long brown hair, average height, maybe just a touch taller. Both are athletic build. One guy is, straight, bald. He's got kind of like a red and gray and black outfit. They definitely give off German vibes, all three of them. And of course, the other crowd starts to back up, and the neo-Nazi racist types are like, they're starting to cheer, harder or whatnot. And so Tony Pope is, where once he was very boisterous, is like, quieting down. He's like, oh, good Lord. And at one point, like, he even curses, so they've got him on. They've automatically got him on a 7-second timer, so they know that to bleep it.
Yeah.
But he's like, could this be real? Is this Reich Shield and his crew coming in? How dare they set foot on American soil? Those beep. And so he's like looking around and putting out his hands. And of course, the other racist crowd is like chanting really loudly, at his arrival, and he's like, and beckons everybody to be silent. And then the group, the racist group on the other side, are just, I mean, they're at the point ready to riot. They're like ready to stomp a mud hole in the pro deviants group, who are pushing themselves back away from the group. It's very visible that at this point, something's about to go down. And he turns and he looks at the racist group, who are just, at this point, they're starting to throw things at the other people. It's like, yeah, we got our Nazi supers here. We're gonna whoop your asses. And so he like turns and looks at them, and he just incinerates one of them on the spot. And like at that point, like everybody goes quiet. He just like beams of energy emit from his eyes, and there's just ash where that one guy was, and they like all back up with frightened looks. And he looks at them, and he says, he says, "You pathetic gene jokes. We were never Nazis, although we served the regime. There may have been many things that happened during that time frame, but we never bowed down to Hitler's ideology." And basically making his comments at this point. And the others are looking around, and he says, "No, I have come to state very plainly," he says, "that the government of the United States has made it known that they harbor your kind, and that they not only dissuade, but they persecute, they harm and even murder innocent deviants. That will not happen in my country of New Prussia, where all are welcome." And there's like a hush, over the crowd at this point. And he turns and looks directly at the camera, which at this point you can see, like, Tony Pope kind of backing away, holding up the microphone so he can, catch the audio, but clearly cowering away as well. And, he turns and he points and he says, "You needn't ask. You simply are invited. Only the strong are allowed within our nation, and we will not kowtow to any United Nations or this pathetic United States of America, who has persecuted our kind for far too long." and then he turns and looks and slaps his hands together with like a great force emits and just knocks the white nationalists and Nazi crowd like over on their ass, just with the concussive force of his slap.
Gotcha.
And it's, I mean, you can even hear the microphone squelching from the loud sound and whatnot. And so then he reaches over and picks up like one of them, easily. And he issues a warning. He says, "You ever harm any of my kind one more time, I will visit it upon your families tenfold." And just throws the guy down, and they're panicky. The other, even the pro deviant side is actually they're not responding in kind. Even they're kind of terrified and with a visible like what the fuck just happened sort of look.
Right.
And they materialize off of camera and then they are gone.
I go to the computer and I look up if there's anything on it, Reich Shield.
Oh yeah. He served he served Nazi Germany throughout the war. The file that is on there, he's actually had several clashes directly with Electrum. The belief is that there was a problem in as history has well documented the whole master race theory that the Nazis have had and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
When that was going around and Hitler was very much on the white nationalism, blonde hair, blue-eyed, Aryan nation and whatnot, he was uplifting many of his supers, much like Reich Shield, as the new wave of what was to come of the Übermensch, the Nazi super soldier, and whatnot. The belief, and even the notes that you see here that Electrum kept, he was not certain, but his belief is that the party fractured at some point with the whole "the strongest will survive" became the outlaw, or became the opinion of the day, as opposed to the white nationalism, Aryan race sort of idea that Hitler was espousing. And he theorized that Reich Shield is likely the reason why Hitler was never found, and not the rumors that the Russians got him when the invasion happened.
Okay.
And there are notes that or last notes on there is that he and several of their SPBs basically dropped off the face of the earth and disappeared. So they were never around for the Nuremberg trials or anything of that nature. Not like anybody could have brought them in. And then the news the news system has actually clipped a couple of news articles, and they have actually taken over. There's a part of basically in World War II, when Russia was coming down and beating back the Germans, there was a portion of Germany that in real life they never gave back. They annexed off. And so when Germany became Germany again, that to this day in reality is actually a part of Russia. In this reality at this point, Reich Shield and his soldiers, they basically showed back up. Hold on one second. Can't tell if there's okay. I think we're all right. What ended up happening is Russia, or not? Well, his basically his what he was calling his Prussian Guard uh, went to that particular area. Let me find the name of it real quick. I'm fumbling with it because I was trying to remember. Uh, Here we go. It was originally called Coensburg.
Okay.
When Russia ended up annexing it off. I forget what what Russia ended up calling it, but basically, um, and this is recent. Around '93, the with the economy tanking, the Russian economy tanking, he and his followers used that opportunity to re-annex that area off through essentially German nationalism at that point initially, because there still were some Germans there. They kicked out the Russians that had been living there and dubbed that particular portion of what was Russia, it's now New Prussia.
Okay.
They did not return it to Germany, which was what they thought was going to happen, and that actually did not happen. So now at this point, Russia, NATO, and the UN have kind of surrounded that particular area, and it's been stalemated, and they've got tariffs against the country and embargoes and whatnot, trying to control the situation despite the fact that they've taken it over. So he's created it as a pro-deviant home, essentially.
Right. Okay. Do we know how long that New Prussia has existed?
It has been in existence a little over a year at this point.
Okay.
Of course, not all nations are choosing to acknowledge that
Right.
as their subtle defiance.
Right. Okay. Do we have any information on his two compatriots that appeared, the female and the bald guy?
Oh
You
yes,
beat me to it.
yes you do. There we go. The female was Beschützerin, which in German means protector.
Okay.
And the other individual was Veshta, German for guardian.
Do we know what they're capable of?
It's those two are unknown. The names are known. It is believed that they both possess degrees of superhuman strength and endurance, and some regenerative capabilities. Hence the whole super soldier thing. They may be lower grade versions of Reich Shield, which would mean they also have some sort of like energy projection and reflection.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. And that's for both of them?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well,
This is a pleasant turn of events.
I'm sure we can expect to see more of this. What also fascinates me is how they appeared. It is as if they have a literal form of teleportation, unless that was simply a trick of light.
It could be teleportation. It could be some other method of arrival. That doesn't concern me as much as what they've just done. Hearts and minds.
It's as you were saying, in this case, it is not a means of genetic infiltration as much as is cultural infiltration. Did that event happen in Strongford, or was that somewhere else?
No, that was in Alabama.
Okay, okay.
Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa.
So very far away from us.
Okay.
It seems as if they definitely are looking to, if nothing else, create their own little homeland. One on the far left is going to be Ubermensch dude, or the one on the right?
Well, the one in the armor is Reich
Mhm.
Shield. The bald one is
Okay.
the bald one is Vashta,
His boy. Okay.
and then the female is Bishuterin.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. All right.
All right. So I was just pulling that up, and I took a look at the page, and the first thing I see is, should gamers be held accountable for in-game war crimes? And it has a picture of Key and Peele sweating Warhammer 40K players. To lighten the mood just a little bit. That's literally what I pulled up when I heard my Facebook go off.
Oh,
Nice.
gotcha.
So that just happened to be a circumstance. No, them doing this is going to create a rift, one that's already there, and is going to divide further. I dislike this methodology.
I concur. This is also extremely dangerous, not just for political relations throughout the world, but if they then decide to consolidate their power of an entire nation of SPBs, what could they do to the world?
Exactly.
Well, fortunately, we don't seem to have the resources to deal with that immediately. We still need to work on it, but now we know there's something we need to be aware of.
This is not going to be a good week. It's still Monday, isn't it?
Sure, we'll say it's Monday.
I mean, with all the
No.
bad news, of course it's Monday.
Yeah. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
No, if you said that where I worked, you'd get your ass kicked.
Exactly.
That line's said multiple times throughout the movie, so the response still works.
Well,
We need to get in contact with the others and see what their opinions of the racist are. And actually, in this context, that's actually appropriately used. Sorry.
yep. I agree. I try to get in contact with Ixion or Lightbringer.
Yeah, okay, well,
Have to leave voicemails.
yes,
Okay.
they are currently unavailable.
Yep.
But with Carmen, you call and it's like, yeah, hey, I have voicemail now. So if you're actually calling me, it means it's probably important. So leave your name and number, and I will totally get back to you as soon as I can.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, I leave them both messages, letting them know that we need to contact them with what we need to do in the future, and because of recent political events involving Reich Shield. I'm like, well, they are now going to be aware once they read and or listen to their voicemail. In the meantime, it may be prudent of us to establish that form of communication with Battlehymn Bell, unless you can think of something else we might need to accomplish as a team.
No, we need to reach out to her right away. my public relations folks aren't going to be here for a few more days. At that time, I'm going to be as myself, and I'm going to be going up the river and pointing out the spillways, how dirty they are, the rivers. Um, I'll reach out to her. Are the lines here secure?
As secure as 1990s tech can be.
There you go.
He doesn't know this because he's not a technologist, so he just gives her a call.
Okay, so the call goes through and you hear a pickup. Aegis Foundation, front desk speaking.
Yes, this is the angler I'm calling for Battle Hymn Bell. She asked me to give her a call.
The angler.
We met a couple of days ago with the
You mean
when Dr. October got away.
Are you the left angler or the right angler? Terrible twins of terror?
No. I'm a new superhero. I'm a new SPB on the scene.
Oh, ooh, okay. Not such a great name. She's not in right now. Is there somebody else I can direct you to?
She asked us to give her a call so we can follow up after what happened with Dr. October.
Oh, that must have been the shipment that was partially recovered. Okay, hold one moment, please.
Well, it's the 90s. We might be hearing some Eminem depending on what year it is.
Yeah, they've got a radio station channeled in right now.
Baby, don't hurt me.
No more. And then a phone, and then the line picks up again. Hello, this is Marcus Danvers. Am I speaking to? Wait, is this right? The angler?
Yeah. I do really well underwater. My original publicist said that it was a really good name for someone who can breathe underwater all day long.
Oh. Okay, you were serious. I am sorry about that.
Oh no, it's all right. It happens a lot.
I'm the president of Aegis Foundation. How can I help you?
Battle Hymn Bell told us to follow up with her after what happened. She was thinking that I forget the exact conversation, just to let you know. She just wanted us to follow up and see if maybe we can start a working relationship. If nothing else, at least it would be good PR to the public.
Oh, right. Okay. I seem to recall BB telling me about some SPBs that she ran into. Okay, so that you're one of them then.
Yes, I'm the one that got smashed by the car because I wasn't paying attention to the other side of the road.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like you've recovered nicely. Good to know. So that I'm sure that will help. You're based out of Strongford, then I take it.
Yes, I've arrived recently. And I'm me and my the legacy. That's what we're calling ourselves right now. We wanted to build
Okay.
relationships with other organizations and groups. That way we can be seen a little bit more and bring a more positive face towards deviants and SPBs in general.
Okay. All right. Well, as luck would have it, we're actually opening an office in Strongford, so I'm actually in town. If you and your people would like to come down and meet, I've got some free time in the next couple of hours.
It's only going to just be two of us for right now. The rest of the team are taking care of their civilian lives.
No, I get it. That's totally fine.
But it'll be me and a colleague of mine.
Yeah, so just come on down, say in about an hour.
We'll be there in an hour.
All right. Then I will redirect you over to our secretary, and she'll give you the address and location to be at.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, so you hear a click over, and then you hear some chewing, like a bubble gum or something, and stop real fast, and like, oh shit. And then she, she ends up saying, "Oh, okay. So you're gonna want to go to," and she gives you the address you go to, and I'm locking you in for an appointment in an hour. If you can't make it, please give us at least 15 minutes head start. Let us know that you can't make it for some reason, just as a courtesy.
Oh, we'll be there.
Okay, great.
I look forward to seeing you. You have a terrific day, ma'am.
You too, Angler.
Call me Angler.
Or is it the Angler?
Oh, you can just say Angler.
Okay.
I haven't nailed it down, and being new to all this, it makes it a little wishy-washy, and it may change. Who knows?
Gotcha. All right. So then with that, she hangs up, and you've got your appointment.
We have an appointment.
What?
I know I've asked this question. Is there a map where I can see where this is at?
I believe I dropped the map either in the Facebook chat or in Discord.
But where the actual location is at, like
the office itself is going to be near the big park that you see on the map, which is basically downtown.
Okay, so there's no way we're getting in there quietly.
What are you trying to fly in?
Yeah, I was seeing which was how we could get there in a reasonable amount of time without revealing our home base.
Yeah, I know.
See?
Yeah, you see that. You see that circle right there, the inner downtown. The building's down there.
Okay. And is our base within? Let's see, where is our base? Is it within one of the green sections?
No, your base is not even on this map.
It's just not on the map. Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. This seems to be a business meeting, so geared up.
Right.
And he'll put on his face mask. He'll tuck away the pearl like he's been doing.
Okay.
The costume, get all that, spread it, make sure my superhero visage is on. And
we'll get the pilot to take us in.
Excellent. Yeah, let the pilot know where we're headed.
And because he's going to share one trait common to me, we get there at least 10 minutes early. If it's possible.
Sure, that's fine. So are you carrying him flying in, or are you taking the craft?
If I can just carry him, I'll just carry him.
Okay.
But I thought the craft had some type of stealth technology, so we couldn't be detected going in and out of the base.
It does, but it's not like a visual stealth. It's like stealth for radar.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, he'll just fly us. I'll just fly us there.
Okay.
All right.
And I'll take a roundabout way. That way I avoid revealing where we come from, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
We're not Batman. We can't just buy our way out of things.
Oh, not yet. Soon.
So you rocket your way through the sky and make your way downtown. Get some oohs and ahs as you're flying over. And you just drop down at the address. It's an office building. It's got some other offices in there, but it's a really nice looking newish building with several offices. There's a sign out front, that shows it still has openings in it. As it is downtown. It is in Chatham, which is the commercial center downtown.
Downtown. Sorry, I'm trying to lighten up because we got super serious there for a minute or two.
No, yeah, you're totally fine. So
Right.
as you guys touch down, and of course people are like looking at you, not super funny because it's strong for they're used to seeing superheroes. It's not used to seeing superheroes just walk into an office building. So the guy out front, who gets the door, just kind of, looks at you guys funny and holds the door open. He says, "Where are you headed to, guys?"
We have a meeting with President blah blah blah.
Oh,
I didn't get his name.
So you're gonna go see Aegis Foundation? Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. They're up on the top floor.
Oh, I could have just landed on the roof then. And he'll have a big smile on his face, trying to get the guard to smile just a little bit.
He's like, sure, yeah, yeah. So you're just going to take the elevator over there and head on up.
All right, thank you. And is there a sign-in space?
Yes, actually there is at the front desk down here.
Then he will actually sign superhero name, not his real name.
Okay.
But can you give me like 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah.
I just got a call, text from my wife. She needs something from me.
Sure.
Yeah.
I take it you sign your superhero name as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Hyperion in the most, robotic way possible. So, fits the character.
So you guys head up to you head up the elevator. On the way, it's got some nice Kenny G music playing in the background, that soft, sexy saxophone. Na, 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 na.
Excellent.
When you get up to the top floor has been taken over by Aegis Foundation. You can see that there's a sign out front that says "Pardon the Dust," because they're still moving some stuff in. There is a security desk here as well, which they stop you here when you both come walking up off the elevator. Everybody here is in kind of like flight suit style uniforms, okay. Which are dark blue in nature with like a shield patch, kind of reminiscent of Shield from Marvel Comics in a way, with like the tack harness and whatnot. The guy at the desk, he holds his hand up and he says, "All right, hold it. Who are you two?"
We are Legacy. I am Hyperion. This is Angler. We're here to meet the president, Marcus Danvers.
So he taps his earpiece for his communicator, and he says, "I've got 2 guys from Legacy here." Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay, so your 1 o'clock is here. So he waves you guys forward, and he has 2 guys go with you to walk you in through the office itself.
Gotcha.
The initial floor plan is open. There's like several desks where it looks like maybe they correlate data, they take paperwork, some sort of like admin function, kind of happens there, as well as front desk that they're setting up for the security as well. Then there's a big room in the middle of the floor that has glass all the way around it, and looks like a big meeting room of some kind with like a long conference table, in there.
Okay.
And he shows the 2 of you there, and they stand outside the waiting room. Marcus Danvers is in there by himself. The computer itself not the computer, sorry, the desk itself is like long and black with a glass top. Very fashion forward looking. He ends up closing the laptop that he had in front of him and stands. He's in business casual. Looks more along the lines of like a Mark Cuban in a sense.
Okay.
Far as like, manner of dress. His build is athletic.
Okay.
So, a touch on the stocky side.
Okay.
And he walks up and, shakes both of your hands. He says, so welcome to the Aegis Foundation's new office. Have a seat.
Thank you. Go ahead and have a seat.
Okay. So your Fisher friend here says that you were directed to us by BB. I guess you do some like pro bono thing around town or something.
That is correct. We are currently trying to establish ourselves in the SPB scene, especially in Strongford. Call ourselves Legacy. I'm Hyperion. We have Angler. We have 2 other members currently, Lightbringer and Ixion. We do have means of self-transport. We are all superpowered. And after assisting in the heist recently with Bettelhem Bell, she offered us an invitation to speak to the Aegis Foundation, since it seems that she has had success in working with your organization.
Yeah, she's a part timer with us. She splits time between us and Justice Legion.
I see. Then the types of work or what have you that you offer seems to be on a contractual basis, or is this some sort of permanent employment?
Well, we offer both, actually. We find that but right now we're offering mostly contracts, as it seems there's a level of autonomy that some of the people in our employ like to have, but there are some that require extensive assignments, such as some of the KNR contracts that we take from time to time.
Apologize, KNR.
We offer, or I should say, we enact on kidnap and rescue policy insurance, which sometimes sends our people to the Middle East and to Latin America, sometimes in the Southeast, where kidnap and ransom issues happen frequently. Colombia happening to be a really big hotspot right about now.
I see.
They've actually
Well,
developed sort of an economy on it, if you can believe it.
that's
Cottage
unfortunate.
industries have been forming around a lot of different things. Mary Kay and Tupperware is 2 great examples of them.
Okay.
Not untrue.
Not entirely untrue.
I'm assuming you knew I would have introduced them when he sat down
Yes.
and all that stuff.
Yep.
Was there any comments made about coming in wearing costumes?
No,
No,
Okay.
not yet.
no, none whatsoever.
Well, excellent. As far as what you offer, it seems that contractual employment would be more what we are looking for. And I look to Freddie. Like, would you agree?
I agree with that.
All right. Well, we do have a standard benefits packet or package to those who are in long-term contracts. We also have established 401ks for all of our people. Once you leave the contract, at that point, it's up to you to maintain or take the disbursement 401k. But we have a matching program where if you up to 6%. If you put in 6% of your paycheck, we'll match 6% from whatever your pay automatically on top of it. For whatever bonus pay you might get to help ensure that the growth of your 401k takes place.
What types of contracts then would you be offering for? Is it per mission or for a specific length of time?
It's usually for a specific length of time. We usually go in 6-month windows for right now.
Let's see. Would you have any of this information written down so that we'd be able to take it back to the rest of our team?
We absolutely do. And so he already had a pamphlet printed up. He said this is a sample pamphlet that we have for all of our individuals, which explains the difference between full-time and contract employment. Also goes over the benefits that we happen to include. And of course, answers some of the frequently asked questions and gives a company focus.
Does the frequently asked questions include concussion recovery?
No, no, it doesn't. They don't have, but they do offer. They do have like health benefits.
So knowing what I know from like my company and doing some of that, like just looking through the benefits, do they actually look like they're like competitive, or like are they gypping their employees, or are they really generous?
No, actually, they're very generous. Given, but I mean that would be expected given what it is that you're signing up for.
Right. Okay. Let's see. And does it show like an actual pay range, or is that like completely a negotiable like per team thing?
No, it does have a typical pay range, for individuals, but but you wouldn't be treated as a team. You'd be treated as individuals.
Got it. Okay.
Does it mention anything about anonymity in the FAQ?
About
Maintaining your own identity?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you are basically, when it comes to this, you are being employed as your secret identity. So they're not probing necessarily for your. So they're in a way they're kind of taking a risk because they're not.
Yeah.
They're skipping over certain things like you need to be, a resident of the United States or something to the effect, because it's an international company. So they're skipping over some of that. They're obviously not asking for things like social security numbers or whatnot.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
Yeah. But it also does it does add that, should you be found, breaking the law or in breach of a number of different things, and this is discovered, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, possible, and the company will actually use its assets to bring you in.
Of course.
Does it show any like collateral damage clause as far as actual like, structural damage, not like human lives lost, but like if during saving somebody from a car wreck, the car gets destroyed,
Mhm.
like is that like on us, or does the company have insurance to take care of that?
Yeah, company that you are insured by the company at that point. Now, obviously, that comes down to, as it states, case by case basis.
Yeah.
So, it could be a situation where, if you're wantonly going around and just wrecking things, you could have your pay docked and or be released from your contract prematurely. But no, typically, if you are operating in the confines of the, of what it is you're supposed to be doing, like security or recovery or whatever, then yes, that is taken care of.
Sure. And let's see, and it's per individual. Okay, so they don't take it as a team, it's per person. That makes sense. So then, do they choose who goes on specific missions? Like, would this mean that like some of us would end up possibly be sent along with others?
It could be, yes.
Kind of.
Mhm.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting. This would add a degree of variety and networking we previously did not have available to us when it comes to the SPB community.
I agree with that.
He says, so why don't you just take that information, show it to your people, the others that you have, and You can just set up another appointment if you want to go forward. Just talk to our secretary. Call back in. Talk to our secretary, and we'll set up another arrangement or something.
Absolutely, I like that.
Mr. Danvers, it was a pleasure.
Of course, thank you. Hope to be doing business with you. Of course, that is on a provision that you're tested prior to officially signing contracts. We do reserve the right to reject potential contractees on competency levels. So you would be required to pass a stress test.
I see. Would we know what the stress test is beforehand?
Of
To
course.
see if we would even be capable.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, I suppose we shall take this back to our team and inform them. Again, a pleasure. I stand up and give him a handshake.
Okay. Yep. He
Does the same.
shakes both your hands, and he motions to the guards to take you out. And he says, before you do, he hands you both a water bottle with Aegis Foundation logo on it. He said, "It just some swag. Go ahead and do with it as you will."
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Head out then.
Out of character, one part of my brain wants to be super suspicious. The other part of me, actually having done contract work for IT, knows this is kind of how it's done.
Yeah. We're just witnessing the very beginning of the Vought Corporation right here. All right. Excellent. Shall we head back?
Yes.
Yep. So with that, you guys go ahead and head back. We'll go ahead and call it there since it's about a full 2 hours in at this point. I know. So I hope you guys had fun. I did.
Oh, I did.
We'll probably not be playing next Saturday because that's my birthday, and I'm gonna try and go out if I can.
Next Saturday or 2 Saturdays from now?
2 Saturdays from the next Saturday, which would be game.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that means the next game would be October 30th. So 31st is
right
Halloween.
before Halloween.
Right? Yeah, it's right before Halloween.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, looks good.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, so then we will see you guys again soon. Thank you guys for watching who tuned in. We'll have the stream uploaded soon, and we'll go ahead and call it there. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Right.